What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our Big Ten football channel. Should Ohio State be on upset alert against Michigan State? That is the question as we head into this game, a game that I think has the potential to be really good and also has the potential to be a complete blowout, and it's very tough for me to figure out which one of the two it's going to be. This is going to be a big game. If Ohio State can get past Michigan State, there's not a whole lot left on the schedule, at least in the division. You got Penn State and you got Michigan, of course, but they have a really good shot to get to the Big Ten championship game as long as they can get by Michigan State here. The game is at 7:30 Eastern time on ABC. It's the ABC Saturday night game with Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler calling it, or at least I'm assuming that's who's calling the game. It's normally who calls. Sometimes they switch things up, but anyways, Ohio State favored by 19.5 points in this one. The over-under is 48.5. So yeah, not expecting it to be a shootout by any means. That's a pretty low number when you have a spread that's that big. So again, Buckeyes favored pretty big. Vegas doesn't think Michigan State's really going to give them much of a challenge. And if you look at the two games against Indiana, the game for each team against Indiana, you would think, yeah, Ohio State should win this game easily, but I don't think it's quite that easy, and I'll tell you why in just a second. But here are first of all, let's look at the ESPN matchup predictor. They have Ohio State favored at 89.6%, so they also think Ohio State should win this game fairly easily. You look at the quarterbacks, Brian Lewerke actually has thrown for more yards than Justin Fields. Justin Fields, though, has done a really good job taking care of the football, no turnovers. Lewerke, though, is starting to play a little bit better. This offense from Michigan State really struggled early in the year, but they're starting to play a little bit better. They found a running back in Elijah Collins, 413 yards on the ground. J.K. Dobbins has been one of the better running backs in the country so far this season. So this is going to be a great matchup, in my opinion. Ohio State has the number one defense in the country, or the number two defense in the country right now, but they haven't played the most explosive offenses, the greatest team so far this season. Michigan State's played a little bit of a tougher schedule. And I mean, they haven't played a really tough schedule or anything like that. But you know, they played Northwestern, they've played Arizona State, they played Indiana. Ohio State's played Indiana as well. So sometimes the stats don't tell the whole story, but I do think this Ohio State defense is really good this year. It's the best defense they've had in a long, long time. Look at the team stats, and you can see points per game. Look at that. Ohio State 52.4. But everyone talks about the struggles on this Michigan State offense. They're averaging over 30 points a game right now. Really not bad at all. Ohio State only giving up 8.6 yards per game. Or points per game, I should say. Not yards. They were giving up 8.6 yards per game. This would definitely be the best defense in the country. Total yards, you see Ohio State, a pretty big advantage there. Throwing the football, Michigan State actually has thrown for more yards per game than Ohio State. And coming into the season, most people probably would not have expected that. And if you did have that, I think most people would have said, well, Michigan State's probably going to be really good this year. But it's been that ground game for Ohio State. They haven't had to throw it a whole lot. Look at the rushing yards, 281 yards per game on the ground. That's just an insane number for the Buckeyes, really getting it done there. And yards allowed, Ohio State's defense has been better, but it's pretty close. And you see both teams really good against the run. Look at Michigan State, just 55 yards per game allowed against the run. And that's a big reason why I think they could potentially have a chance in this one. If they can shut down this rushing attack for Ohio State, make things tough on Justin Fields, force him into some third and longs, it could be a long day for this Ohio State offense. Justin Fields has really not had to do that a whole lot. If you look at the games for Ohio State, it's all been easy. They've had the short passes that the receivers have made big plays on, or they've had the long runs. I mean, it's not like they've been having to grind out drives, and they've had to convert 3rd and 9s through the air, consistently, things like that. So Justin Fields really has not faced that, and he has not faced a defense like Michigan State's. And if they're able to do that and force him into some 3rd and longs, they're going to have a chance in this game. And I could see it going that way. I could see it being really close. Michigan State keeping it low scoring, having a chance to win it in the fourth quarter. Or I could see it going the other way and Ohio State kind of pulling away. And that's what I think is going to happen. I'm going to say Ohio State wins it 34-13. I think in the first half this game does stay close. We've got a 10-6 game at halftime, maybe something like that. But I think the Ohio State offense will make adjustments in the second half. They will figure some things out, and then they will pull away. I don't trust Michigan State's offense to do a whole lot in this game. I think 20 points is probably about the max. I don't think they're going to score more than that. I'm going to go with 13. I like the Michigan State defense to slow this Ohio State offense down a little bit, but scoring 34 points is actually a lot lower for Ohio State than what they've done so far this season. So I think they do slow them down a little bit. But we go back to the third downs. Maybe Justin Fields, maybe he doesn't make the throws on 3rd and 9, but maybe he runs for it, and that's something that you have to account for. He is an elite athlete back there with the football. And I even said coming into the season, I expected this team to run the football way more than they ever have. I didn't expect them to throw it a whole lot. They haven't had to, but if they do have to in this game, it could keep Michigan State in the game, because I'm not convinced that Ohio State could pull away in this game if Justin Fields has to throw for 300 yards. Again, I don't think he's going to have to. I think the Michigan State defense slows them down enough to keep it close for a while, but I think Ohio State does pull away in the second half and, again, get the win in this one. I'd love to know what you guys think about this matchup. Who do you have winning? What do you think the score will be? Do you like my prediction? Tell me why I'm right. Tell me why I'm wrong. Anything you want to add about this game, feel free to do that down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more here on our Big Ten Football channel.